Alright. So today we're going to try and work on the legs and the boots. That might need to be edited and extended just a hair. It might be angled up a little bit more. I'm not sure. But we'll work at it. Also, skin tone. It's gonna be tough. He's got very, very, very fair skin. So let's give it a shot. And it's not yellow, it's just like the tiniest tinge of pink. So, last night the bear came back again, caused some problems, broke some stuff, and ate from the apple tree, which is a bit problematic. We've got an apple tree back in the yard, and it's gone through quite a lot to get to the point it's at. It's survived gophers and deer and all sorts of things, and we finally have a tree that can grow some apples. The apples are only about yay big, but it can start growing them, and it's starting to flourish a bit. We really don't want that tree getting broken again, because we had four planted. Then gophers came through and ate the roots of 3 of them, which was not very fun. But yeah, so we're gonna have to do something. He just keeps coming back. That little tiny blob of red is too much. Oh, that's looking better. Let's give it a shot. Nothing else, this will be a good base one to work from. Oh, that'll work out fine. That's fine. That's just right. Yeah. Bears. Problems. And, yeah, we had to move Mama Hen back into the chicken coop again. She went back to sitting in the garden. I'm trying to just hunker down there. We really don't want her by herself in the middle of the night for the bear. It's not a good combination to have. And so shit. So we keep trying to get her interested in the coop and staying there. Might take some time, but it'll be what it'll be. Especially for the winter. Out here in the currently the fall, I guess. It is fall. September is part of the fall. It's still bearable outside, but once the snow starts hitting, they won't be able to stay outside like they have been. And so that's, again, while we're trying to get them interested in the coop. Shelter from the elements and the creatures outside. Okay. So this is an interesting shading project. What would I do for the shading on this? Where's the light coming from? She's kind of in random spaceland. So there's not really a direct light direction coming in from here. Where would I go with the light? Well, what would be practical, what would be effective, and what would look decent? I keep screwing up the paint. Stop doing that. Okay, little touches just outside of the range. Oh yeah, I brought my controllers to work, try and swap out the joysticks. Didn't quite work out like I planned because the joysticks have 12 points of contact to the board. That's a lot, and I have to do it twice. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Not really. And I was also busy most of the day, so I wasn't able to get to it like I wanted. Alright. And we'll do the face too, because why not? I know she's got her necklace up there. Or choker, rather, I believe would be the proper term. But I can put this down as space color and then paint the red over it without having to do any of the silly line work, the stuff I have to do. Alright. But I think I will go with the smaller brush this time for that part. Alright. Now, well, I could go with the lighting on the picture there, and just mimic it across. And the light there is from the upper right, so it would be kind of like this. Wait. What? Her arms and chest, the light is from the upper right. Her face is from the upper left, and her legs are from the left. So something is up with the shading on there, actually. So I guess it doesn't matter. Consistency. Apparently it's missing. keep going, we'll keep going. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah. And there we go. Not expecting to have this all done as fast as I have. Face here. And goes the ear. Wing it. There we are. Maybe just a bit more. Trying to shape up that ear, get it close enough. Alright, there we are. Now do a second coat to give it a bit more uniformity and cover up some of the transparency on it. I'm trying to get really good brush strokes because I'm not quite sure how well I can show it on camera, but the paint can tend to clob up in an area, and if you just leave it there, it'll dry and have a big old blob of paint in the spot. It technically is the right color, but it'll stick out because it's not uniform. It's not the same consistency. It's the same color, but not the same depth, and it'll stick out, especially on like skin areas. It looks very odd. So I try to work pretty hard at getting those all the same. Mix up that red again. How did I get that red? How did I get that red? I think it was alizarin and a little bit of white. I think it's what I went with, right? Maybe I should write that stuff down. But I tend to keep a lot of the details in my head. At least I try to. Hello, hello, hello. Kind of busy day yesterday. Things at work. Wasn't able to fix my controller, man. Hello? Right, welcome. You just missed me getting the base color on the legs, and you actually can't see any of it. It's much too light. Let's see, is that set up right? Give me a sec. Oh, yeah, oh, there. Yeah, I really would very much like to have a second camera so I can show you what exactly I'm doing, but I can't. They're all sold out. And there's a specific model, at least type of model, I'm interested in as well. Yeah, that's not bad, but just busy. And yeah, I had, we did have an interesting repair yesterday, actually. This guy brought in a CD player, a Bose CD player. It was kind of an old thing, made from that like old white, off-white computer material. If you ever had an old PC, you know that stuff, that slightly bumpy texture. They are pretty nice, and the thing still worked apparently. But his problem was he needed this working for tomorrow, or today rather. And it worked, but he had a power supply for it, a bank of like 12D batteries, and then those 12 batteries hooked up to a cord. That cord would then plug into the machine, and it would work off that. However, that little cord was broken. The fitting at the end wouldn't plug into the thing, so he needed a replacement, and he needed it by today. So it's like, all right, cool. Well, and it's like, well, I got a universal power supply, but you need it running off the battery. You could try and buy the big old power supply we got. Universal power supply. It's plugged into the wall, and then instead of like, you know how electronics have like those metal cylinder plugs with a pin inside or the hole inside, or just like a whole slew of different types. We got one of those. I was gonna try and use the head of one of those to replace it. None of them quite worked. So yeah, it's like, it was either D or C, one of those big ass batteries. 12-volt power supply, and so it needed 12 batteries or something like that. But yeah, so I did, however, manage to find one that worked. Seemed like it fit good enough, but it was we have a ring, like imagine a key ring, but it's filled with cords and different fittings at the end. And I'm assuming we're supposed to take that, find, oh, you've got a M type fitting or a G type fitting or a W type fitting, whatever the hell it was, and then go and get the appropriate part or something. But these were all just tester units, just kind of generic ones to find out, not to actually use. I found that out a little late, because my plan was cut off the cord, take that and solder it to the cord he's got and get it up and going. Turns out the two wires connecting to it, to the little testing unit, go to the same exact spot. So I had to solder a wire to the other part of that. They are, but they're not actually legit power things. They're just display demo models. They don't actually work. So I had to make it work. I had to cut it apart and resolder to a new thing, and then put everything back together with electrical tape. In the end, I did make it work. It was able to plug in there and turn on, and everything worked. So, well, I was able to plug it in and turn it on, so I call that good enough. Hey, if it works, it works. Alright. Good. YouTube needs a little bit more. But yeah, that was my interesting task for the day. Another one was, this dude wanted to, maybe, I don't quite have that. Well, it was, here, give me a sec. Let me draw a picture for you. I just saw it go. Really? It's gonna be like, there it is. Well, one of the problems was I've got an end like that, right? The bit over here is the metal cylinder. This is the black rubber that goes around it. I had to cut that black rubber casing apart in half in order to find out where the wires were going, and then put it back together. So it was quite literally entirely just opened up in pieces, and I'm not quite sure shrink wrap would go over that with a the one. But electrical tape, I told him it was kind of a patch job. It's the best I could do. I'm Radio Shack. I don't have all the big equipments. I just have whatever we have. But yeah, shrink wrap would look better, but we don't actually have any. Yeah, if it was just on the cords, shrink wrap would probably work out. But I needed it on more than just the cords and in a 90-degree bend. Alright. I could potentially look into doing... Well, the other thing is... I don't do many soldering jobs in the first place. Most of the soldering jobs are just... at the base level, like the things broke off on the board, so I just solder them back to a board. Or I rarely get very many wire jobs, actually. But yeah, that might be a problem. Put it. Give me one moment. Cleaning up my little. There we are. But that was the interesting one for the day. Then I had a cell phone, an iPhone 7, that the guy wanted the screen replaced because it had a crack in it. He wanted the microphone at the base replaced because he couldn't speak through it, and he wanted the earpiece replaced because he couldn't hear out of it. Give me a sec. That phone drives me nuts sometimes. The battery's going, and I've been very lax on getting a replacement just because I've been lazy. But that guy wanted all that stuff replaced on the phone, and so I had to. Oop. Anyway, thank you for the follow. Happy Steve. Thank you. But I had to do that for the phone, the screen, the earpiece, and the microphone. which attributed to the upper camera assembly. Like an iPhone, it's they have one strip of ribbon cable type thing that has the loudspeaker, the camera, the earpiece, a couple of other miscellaneous things, the infrared sensor, stuff like that. Oh, thank you. Later I'll show you guys what I got so far. Here's Sailor Moon, and you may or may not be able to make out, but that is not white. That's very pale skin color. I'm currently a work in progress. I'm making my way through. It's working at it. The other ones are back here. Want me to show you them? I can, but currently I'm trying to get some of this done. Thank you. This is my first foray into Sailor Moon as well. This was based off a basically a request for from a viewer, and so I've been doing Sailor Moon. The theme with this one was she's doing that pose, but upside down. It was a very silly idea, and I decided to go with it. All right. What soldering was? Internet. What if? You pulled it out. You managed to pull it out without soldering. That's without breaking it. That's actually truly impressive. I try and do some good arting. I'm also still learning how to paint, for the most part. I think actually I'm getting some of the basics down, and I've got what I want. The biggest problem I have is mixing colors properly. I'm able to get some, but not the others. Like the biggest one I have trouble with is like very light, deep, violet pink. That color is really hard for me to mix up, and I don't know why. Yeah, it's how long have I been major experiment? Yeah, this one is an experiment because I'm not using a well, I'm basing it off a reference. I'm not doing an exact duplicate of a picture. But yeah, it's I think a couple of months now. Yeah, so I've had a week and a half, another week. So I've got 3 paintings in a month, and then those 2 special cases. Yeah, this is my first official one I did. That's the second one, still technically unfinished. I've been on a sidetrack lately. And then the third one will be that guy, and this is the 4th one. Can't quite see, but the Amazon from Dragon's Crown. I'm actually really proud of this one. It came out really well. But yeah, this was an exact reference. I had a picture that looked 90% like that, and I was able to transfer it over 1-to-1. This is my first experiment with something that isn't shown. This is there is no Sailor Moon pose I know of in this form, so I had to redraw and remake this. I had to sketch it out, grid it across, put it on the canvas. Now I'm working at the painting. It's been an interesting process. Give me a sec. I got a very fine line here with black. Like it too. Pretty cool. Apparently the Vanillaware has released another game, 13 Sentinels. It just came out like a few days ago. And so if you're interested in the Vanillaware series, that might be worth looking into. It's very different. It's a futuristic one with a turn-based combat, or action turn-based combat, or what would you classify? I think it's where it's like real time, but you can pause it. Whatever that would be considered as. Which is a fascinating way to go about things. Yeah, my first foray into those kind of games was Dragon Age, I believe. No, technically, actually, it was I think Planescape. No, Torment. Planescape Torment is what it was. The one with the immortal guy who could never die. I think that was my first ever actual turn-based or real-time that could be paused game. And then the next one was Dragon's Age. It's an interesting mechanic, being able to like pause fights. It keeps it relatively turn-based, where you can like shit. Relatively turn-based, where you can sit and plan your moves ahead, but it's also real time, so you can't just sit there and wait for my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn type of thing. I think that's one of the main problems with turn-based is it's my turn, and then it's your turn, and then it's my turn, and if somebody gets the upper hand or something, it's really hard to reset the pace, the rhythm, get it back into an advantageous position for you. But one of the there's actually a card game that used to play. Well, me and my brother used to play back in the day. It was on PC, and it was called Infinity War, I believe was the name of it. And that had the neat concept of having a simultaneous turn, which was, I think, actually a really neat way of going about it. So instead of saying, okay, I end my turn, it's your turn, go, okay, I react to that, do this, now it's your turn, you both had to go at the same time. Then everything was resolved at once, and then you guys would plan your next turn, and you'd all go at once. And it made it different, so you had to prepare and react to what was going on at the same time, as opposed to simply reacting or some such. You know, I'm going to cheat here a bit. Don't tell nobody, but I'm cheating there. But yeah, it was different. Because with like a standard turn base, you can get people who just go on turns that go on forever. But with a simultaneous turn, you can kind of like throw a wrench into their plans. Okay, I play this guy, and then I put this guy next to him, and then I do this, and then he does this and this, and then I cast this magic spell, and now you're dead. Well, with a simultaneous turn, you could, for instance, I put this guy next to him, and because he's next to him, this happens. You go, I attack the second guy to the right. Even though he's not quite there yet, he puts him in place, and then you've preemptively attacked him, and you've screwed up his entire turn. And it causes a very different style of gameplay. This is not a very pretty line. This is one of the things I'm having trouble with painting. I've got this brush, and I gotta get a very steady line, but I have to work with a blob of paint. I can't go with it's not like a pen. I can't just go over it and it'll be there. But live and learn. Like I said, I'm still learning how to do painting. And I guess outlines and paint aren't really a thing much. I don't know. Oh. I always forget that thing. But yeah, sitting here playing games. I did like the Infinity Wars. It had some interesting artwork and animations, but then it kind of just died off. the developers didn't quite know what to do with it. Then they created an overpowered faction and it just fell apart. And then they stopped updating it. Yada yada. But there was a game that was really interesting for a while back that I played. It technically is still out there, but it's just such a small community now that it's basically dead. And it was a game called Pax Nora, which was this turn-based game, but it was based off cards and pieces. It's like if you mixed Magic the Gathering and or Yu-Gi-Oh with Fire Emblem. That's the game you would end up with. And it was really fascinating because you have a deck of 20 or so cards and you can make units and you get mana points. Don't think I played that. Probably not. It's a very, very, very small game. It's all pixel art too, except for the cards. There's some very good card artwork on there. But how it works is like you would draw your hand, and then you could eventually hold up the whole deck in your hand and then play whatever. But everything there was no randomness to it. Everything was able to be planned exactly. If you did 3 damage and they had 1 armor, you would do 2 damage. Flat out. Their abilities to this, everything could be accounted for. And there's no chance, at least I remember it being that way. Which was a very fascinating way to go about it, because you could actually account for it. You won because of skill and or money from amount of special cards. But it's really a fun way to go about it. But you would place a unit with a card, and then they would move around, and so you could have this guy siege tactic over there and protect this base, capture that thing, get some more money, the mana, things like that, and it would be a very interesting game. And there were different factions who had different ways of going things. My favorite one were the lizard folk, or Sundered Lands was, I believe, the faction, and the lizards were a sub-faction of it. How they worked was, if the lizards were grouped together with another lizard, or somebody with the same trait, didn't quite have to be the lizards, and they attacked somebody, they would get 1 extra attack point. And that was it. That was all they worked with. However, they also had a slight regeneration, very minor, but slight. And so, you'd start out with kind of a base, and paint just dries so fast. You start out with kind of a basic unit, and they're very easy to take out originally. But if you keep them in a group and plan it correctly, you can get them from like 2 attack to 4 attack to 8 attack, and you'd eventually get them just more and more, and they'd be a monster. And this standard little goon would end up being able to one-shot your big units if you left them alone long enough. And so it was really cool. I liked having just this big old group just kind of move and slowly trudge their way across the map, and eventually end up killing the enemy team. It was really fun. I liked those guys. But then they changed it, and it wasn't quite as fun. And then we stopped playing. Actually, the original reason we were interested in that game in the first place was because it was pixelated, which meant very small file sizes, and then the updates were just nothing, and so we could actually play it on our satellite internet at the time. And it was also turn-based, so we didn't have to worry about the real-time stuff, and it worked out pretty good. But like I said, they changed and things went away. Yeah, it's free to play. If you're ever interested in it, just take a gander at it. I have no idea what it's like right now, but it was a neat, fun little thing to play. And if they've solved any of the problems, it would actually be a really cool thing to go with, because there's a lot of play, a lot of strategies and techniques. You could also play one of the other ones I went with were the Underworld was the faction of them, and they were demons and hellfire and stuff like that, but they had a vampiric subgroup in there, and they were slightly weak, but their attacks could spawn a little blood orb around the units, and if you had a vampire trait, you could step on it and get healed for like 2 damage, but if an enemy stepped on it, they'd get damaged for 2 damage. So it was a neat way to just like spread like little damage blobs all over the map that your opponent had to either navigate around, tank, but at the same time ones that you could take advantage of and absorb. And it was a neat little tactic to go around and do some of that stuff. But yeah, and it wasn't just Team Fortress 2. I bet it's a game I've got. It's a multiplayer one I played, and I bebop on it every so often, but it's frustrating. I like being support classes. The rest of the team doesn't care about that. And it's frustrating. Yeah, I like playing medic and or engineer, or I'd like to play pyro, but I just can't ever play on that one. Playing as the engineer. Yeah, it's yeah, I hit a game the other day. It was just capture the point. Your team tries to go up, capture the point, and then capture the next one, and so on and so forth. And I was playing as the engineer, trying to get a teleporter set up, a dispenser, all sorts of stuff just built up so the team could use it. And we lost, and it's like, we didn't even like really try, did we, guys? So I looked at my team and saw what we had, and we had like 4 spies and 3 snipers. I was quite literally one of the only guys actually attempting to get the point, because everyone else was either in the background shooting or on the other side of the background stabbing everybody else. And so I was playing support while also being the main offensive guy with nothing but a shotgun. It's like, really? Really? Yeah, there was another round. It's like, I was trying to just play some of the engineer just a bit, and I ended up on another map one time. It was payload. You have to push your cart all the way to the end and get it to their base, and then it blows up, right? Well, I was the engineer. I was placing sentry, little guns and such, dispensers around, and noticed that the cart wasn't moving, so I went up there and pushed the cart as the engineer. And I captured, I think, 3 or 4 of the 4 or 5 points that were on the map. So me as the engineer, the support, was the guy pushing and making progress on the cart. Just me. It's stupid how many times that happens. And I even have to do that as the medic. I'll be sitting there healing whoever, and then nobody's in the cart, so me as the medic, not healing my team, is standing by the cart pushing it while they do God knows what. That's casual for you, I guess. Yeah, it's really weird how it just, there's such a big gap in some of the players. Because like if you join a casual match in just like any type of game, you'll get the Neanderthal idiots. It's just there's that, like, you get people who just kind of stand there and try and like shoot in like random directions about this guy who's AFK and can't hit him, or like these people who just mod for TF1. Now that's old school, man. But yeah, it's mods for games were pretty cool. They had added a lot of neat little styles for all that stuff. But yeah, you get like those casual players who have like no idea how to play at all, and then you have the full-on competitive, you know, every timing aspect, reload speed, shot spread of every character ever made. And I tend to fall in the middle of that. You've got the absolute noobs and the absolute professionals. I sit in the middle, and I have to either choose play with the noobs or play with the professionals. There's like no middle ground. It's really frustrating. Occasionally you can find a decent game, but they're far and few between. But yeah, it's good times. I think that is one of the other ones. Playing with friends. If you play with just like random people, you're just going to be playing with random people. But if you play with friends, it makes a bit of a difference. I used to play, since we're on the subject of Valve games, I used to play Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and Gary's Mod, because those were online games that I was actually able to play with. Once that I owned that I could play. Yeah, it's like, if you're able to find a group of friends and buddies to go with, it makes online gaming a lot better. I unfortunately don't really have that. Yeah, it's pretty much just me. I've got a friend, Phoenix, who I play games with, but he's not interested in those games. He's interested in other ones, so that about is the extent of the friends I know who play games like that, other than I guess you, but we're in different time zones. So yeah, it gets weird. So yeah, I end up just playing with random people, which can be interesting, but generally isn't, and it's frustrating. I try not to be frustrated in games, but it's just ending up being more and more the norm. It's, you play a game to have fun, but end up just getting frustrated at the lack of anything. Well, maybe. Be interested in that, I guess. Well, we can look into trying that. What time would that work out for you? Because we're literally on opposite ends of the earth. Not too bad, but yeah. Because I could technically play a bit after the stream, because gaming doesn't take up too much bandwidth, or I could do it after work when I get home. But if it's at that point, I can't really do it for long because I gotta go to sleep. And I guess this is always the problem with trying to close enough, I guess. Give me a sec. Oh, also, I think after this painting, I'll still keep. Well, what is your night and afternoon? We need different time zones. Also, it's like a really, really, really big file. You have to download all the hats and stupid shit like that. But I think this will be the last painting only week. I might bring up the Higurashi next week. Bring that into seeing where we'll go with that. I think I have the art packs in. We'll see. I'll double check it. But yeah, it's get back into the flow of some of that stuff. Get back to reading some visual novels. I'm not gonna abandon the paint, but I'm gonna bring that aspect back into it. Okay, no, like that. But yeah, it's not a bad game, but I guess that is kind of true about just any game, really. It's only as good as the players who play it. Because yeah, it's not a lot of fun when you just get in a random group and you try and do stuff, but you just fail horribly. That tends not to be all that fun. But then you have matches. There's always the matches where it's down to the wire and close as can be. Those are fun when you get actually close fitting games. Because that's the part that's fun about a lot of games, when everything is evenly matched and just right there. Because that means everybody is right exactly where they should be, and even if you lose at something like that, you had fun and you give it your all. That's a good spot to be in. But in other matches where it's like the team is kind of doing whatever the hell they feel like and nothing gets done, it's you kind of get to what's the point state. They're down the wire. Those are always the fun ones. Because yeah, it's like it's the same with like sports. Even though I don't watch, I honestly have never watched sports. Really, it's like I knew what was going on and saw like a clip and oh, yeah, that's pretty impressive. But I've never been like as obsessed about it as some people are. But with sports, it's like if you have a team that like stomps it like 120 to nothing, yeah, we stomped your faces in, rah rah. It's like, okay, yeah, you really won, yay. As opposed to like games that are like the score was like 7-8, you barely won. Those are interesting because it's like just fun to watch, fun to be that close, that you almost had it. It could have gone either way. Those are the fascinating ones. Small friend group, Bad Company 2. I've heard that, but I can't recall specifically what that game is. 4 people, random person. Yeah, it's like things like that. The underdog winning. Those are awesome moments when you can do it. It's like just like this small little group, and you manage to, against all odds, manage to just hold out and last through the round, or even somehow manage to win. It's like that's what a lot of people hope the games to be. I imagine, it's like having fun, getting it, and just against all odds. Yeah. But somehow they didn't. They somehow managed to not. It's just shit. It's stuff like that. That just like everyone, when situations like that happen, everyone just gets into full-on engaged mode where it's everyone is paying attention, everyone is doing their job, everyone is trying to work as hard as they can to for a common goal, and you can just feel it sometimes. You don't even have to say what's going on. You just go, and you just work it out. Yeah, there was one game a while back I had in Team Fortress 2. It was a payload map. The enemy team was pushing the cart towards our base, and I was again an engineer. I'm working for. Oh yeah, sure. Be right back. I'll be here for you. Hello. But yeah, in Team Fortress 2, I'm playing as an engineer. I'm working at trying to get an achievement. I've had TF2 for quite some time now. Yeah, nice. I'm not really an achievement hunter, but this is one that I've kind of just gradually have gotten over the course of my entire playtime, and it's almost done. So I'm trying to work at finishing it just because I can. But it's heal up 50,000 damage of friendly sentries, and I think I'm at like 40 some odd thousand at the moment, so it's just pretty close, relatively speaking. But yeah, it's me and this other guy. We're an engineer, and like we were trying to set up and hold our bases, and we were trying to put everything we could to get these my sentry, his sentry. His would blow up, but I'd be able to fix his dispenser. He'd be slapping down another sentry. I'd help him out. He'd be running off to get some metal. I'd do stuff, and we were just really in sync. And we didn't really even need to say a lot. Just occasional, mostly him actually, occasionally mentioning, "Hey, sentry's down. Could you top it off? Thanks, buddy." Things like that. And when you can get just like this random person, neither of you know each other, but you end up being just like on the same wavelength and you got each other's back, and you can just feel it. Those are interesting and nice moments to have. But yeah, there's this one point at the end. They were like right up at the end of the base, and so we made a mad dash to build up anything we could. I couldn't get my sentry to stay. They kept blowing up, but his was able to stay up. So I ended up just like focusing on him. He had the Wrangler, which makes it shoot. You can control it. And so he was sitting there trying to pick off people, and I was sitting there reloading his sentry and keeping it going. It was a decent team effort, but we still lost. But it was a lot of fun getting it that close. Yeah, and then game ended and we went our separate ways, never to be seen again, or something like that. Now, gotta check our reference here. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah. But yeah, being able to be fun and do a lot of things. Now, for a while, I tried Overwatch, and it had the potential to be pretty cool. And I have to admit, I really did love the style of the game, the aesthetic of it, rather. But I couldn't ever. It didn't quite work for me. You know what? I think I'll do it the other way around. Those were fun. Yeah, and capture the flag, huh? Those were fun for a time, but capture the flag is very stagnant, I guess is a way to put it. But yeah, it's one of the other ones was it's capture the flag, putting a teleporter base underneath theirs, like in the sewers or something. Give me a sec. I don't prefer it. Yeah, it had potential, but not really. Well, the reason I got Overwatch was because my friend was interested in it, and it was something we could both play at the time, or at least I could work at playing. Among other things, this is back when I didn't have the current internet here, and so in order for me to play with them, I had to drive to town, set it up on a day I didn't work, and try and connect and play with them. It worked for a bit, but it became hard to maintain, hard to do, and I was actually spending money, gas, and time to try and play with him for a bit, and it fell through. But it is what it is. So anyway, besides that, I tried playing healer support, which was nice, but those support classes at the time were very heavily support oriented, and so if my team sucked, I kind of sucked, and you can't really support is mostly only as good as the team that they're with, because if you're trying to support a foundation that isn't there, you can't really do anything about it. No? Hey, well, hello then. Thank you for stopping by, man. But yeah, it's 10 p.m. for you. It's 5 in the morning for me. Been up for 2 hours now. But yeah, this is the only time I can really work with. I'm planning on, once I move, shifting hours around, but based off work and whatever it'll be. But yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for just stopping on by. It really is nice when just like people just stop and say hello to you. just a simple hello means quite a lot sometimes. And you'd be surprised at just how much little compliments, little mentions mean to people. Apparently there was interest with support. Well, cool. Yeah, I tend to be a support of. Not always have been, but it's what I've found I'm really good at. Used to be a raid healer in Warcraft and a game called Rift. That was always pretty fun. Just keeping everybody alive, and I miss raids. I used to be on Warcraft and whatnot, and raids, tanking and healing and support classes were fun. And worthwhile. It was more than just doing as much damage as you can. You had to keep track of multiple bars and keep everyone alive, and then start doing priority over who to save, who to focus on. I always enjoyed that aspect, and this paint does not want to go on. You know what? There we are. But yeah, so it's that's what I enjoy. Just more than just damage, more than just doing insane 360 no scopes. That's not really that impressive to me. What's impressive to me is being able to keep an entire team alive that's trying to kill themselves and still managing to win. Those are impressive feats. Yeah, it's a different mindset, different mechanic. I used to be a raid healer, and I was pretty good at it. I was able to keep most everybody alive. But even still, you have those idiots who just stand in the fire. It's just like, how many times do I have to explain, don't stand in the fire? That was still nice and good enough, but yeah, just the support, being able to just keep it alive. It's an entirely different mindset. I don't quite know how to explain it, but So my favorite healing moments were in the game Rift, I talked about. And it's, man, this paint is really hard to just stop drying. Stop drying. In there, I played a class called a Warden, which was a water-based healer, and they heal over times, HOTS, and that was their main source of healing. They had very, very few actual big burst heals, and so I had to keep track of everybody with multiple HOTS at the time. And so, okay, that one's running out. Priority on that guy, and just sitting there, kind of being an overseer of everything, keeping everything flowing and everything going, while still trying to keep your own butt out of the fire, and keeping track of the fight, what stage you're on, all that stuff. And it was just, I like that aspect, not the total power, but just keeping track and like multitasking and all that stuff. Oh, speaking of multitasking, there was like I said, yesterday was busy at work. I was working on that phone with the multiple repair parts, and this lady asked for my help. For that, coworker asked for my help with this person who needed help on the phone. So I came in working on the phone. It's like, well, what's wrong? What can I do for you? There it is. And she needed help trying to get her phone working, wondering if you could transfer it over to a iPhone, things like that, getting a new battery for her. Is it really that difficult to just get a new battery for this? It's amazing how many people don't quite realize how difficult some of that stuff is. They keep thinking it's just like a TV remote. Yeah, just pop in new batteries. I don't know where they are, but just pop in new batteries. It's not quite how it goes. They have to be dismantled, and then the battery has to be installed, and then you put it back together. Oh, that doesn't sound like fun. Not really, no. Just no one realizes how it is because they never play healer and what you do for work. What do I do for work? I am currently working at Radio Shack as the phone repair technician. Broken screen, earpiece not working, need a new battery, stuff like that. That's my job. I fix phones. Currently, anyway. Anyway, this lady came in asking about this phone, and I was trying to explain it to her. But then another lady came in that I had talked on the phone prior. She needed help salvaging a hard drive from her old laptop, and so I had to say, okay, I can do this for you, but you can go over there. She'll help you out with some more of that stuff. I gotta help this lady, so I'm sitting here helping this lady on the laptop, and another guy comes in, and he's like, I need you to help me figure out why this phone stops making sound only on the messages sometimes. And so I'm sitting here helping this lady try and figure out her hard drive while it's loading. I'm looking at this phone, trying to do something over here while talking to them, explaining to it, shifting back and forth, and while trying to keep an eye on other things. And I had a repair in the back I needed to work on. Multitasking. Shit. Hoshi killer. Hoshi. You forgot an eye in there. But yeah, I like the aspect of multitasking. I think part of it originated when I originally did Warcraft as a warlock. My first, not originally, but that was the first one I got really far in the game, was with a Blood Elf warlock with a demonology bit, and I loved keeping track of my pet, because I was the damage, the tank, and the healer all in one. And there were certain points where I could actually solo multiple people missions with my pet. They'd sit there and beat on my pet, and I'd keep him alive. It'd take me forever to do it, but I could solo missions I wasn't supposed to. And I think that brought me into healer territory, and I tried giving those a shot, and the rest is history. Alright. More points up here. Just a sec. There we go. That's the outline. Okay. Losing stuff randomly. Yes. Now have no PC. You can actually still have hard drives. This was actually one of the things we did for that lady. She had a laptop where the screen busted, and she needed to try and get the data off the hard drive on it. I told her she could do that with they actually sell these. You can connect a hard drive, SATA style, to a USB port 3.0, and just a cord that transfers from. You take the hard drive, plug it in, and then plug that into a USB port, and then it registers as a hard drive. So even if you can't use it for the PC, you can look at it elsewhere. It's amazing for solo play. And solo play, yeah, that's what it was. I soloed my way through the game, mostly with that. And it's a bit where I learned how to do the tanking bits, how to do healing bits before I actually started truly going with those. My brother has a story. Back in the day, he had a dwarf hunter in Warcraft, and he entered, what was it? The Badlands? I think it was the Badlands was the name of the place. This end level area with like not a hell of a lot in there, but he went there horribly underleveled, and he ran into this guy that was a skull level mob, which is like 9 or 10 levels above you, and he managed to take it out and another mob with his pet. He soloed a mob he should not have been able to solo with another ad without dying, and successfully did it as a hunter. This was back in the day, I guess, when it was just really overpowered or something. But it's really cool when you just pull off the impossible stuff like that. Yeah, it's really useful. We probably should carry a bit more of them in the store. They're really nice to have. Just like, my computer died, can you help me? Maybe? Yeah, the all-in-one character is nice. I tend to kind of fall into the I think the term is the floater, just kind of filling in whatever role needs to be done at the time, and I kind of excel in that. I used to be work at Walmart in the auto department, and we did tires and oils and writing them up, all the paperwork, busy work stuff. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Let me see there. Maybe. Where are you? But yeah. The healer and a pet, you're mortal and can break the game ridiculously. You can, if the game allows you to. My brother was really good with a lot of very effective but unorthodox methods. Yeah, him and my dad got really into Guild Wars 2 for a while. That just wasn't quite my thing. I don't know why, but it didn't really work with me. I think part of it is I enjoy the story aspects of a lot of things, and their whole story was kind of, all the quests were generic checkbox quests. Kill 10 wolves, gather 10 plants, come back here, help the old man build the well, help the old lady build the farm, help the kid build the doghouse. Just same thing, different area. There was no meaning behind any of it. I think that's the part that really killed me for the game. But they had a lot of fun with it, and I missed that part. But my brother took a lot of fun building. He had a I think it was a thief build and a necromancer build, that he had the most fun with. And he had a necromancer build where he built insanely tanky, where he built it all around surviving everybody. And then at that point, when they tried to kill him and failed, he would win through attrition and just kind of succeed. And people would hate him, but he's like, look, I won. I beat you. And the necromancer was not meant to be such a tanky class, but he managed to do it. Managed to succeed, and it's kind of cool when you can pull stuff off like that. Similar thing is like a magic barbarian or something. It's just filler, yeah. The filler. That's the part I hate. There's the acceptable amount of it. You need 60, 100, whatever levels, and you're gonna run into some filler stuff. It's acceptable, but when the whole game is filler, that's when it just kind of falls apart. And yeah, I got the Lore Master achievement in Warcraft. I did every quest on the mainlands, Eastern Kingdom and Kalimdor. I could probably tell you, at least for the classic stuff, how to do any quest. Horde side, anyway. I never got overly far with the Alliance. And then there's faction complaints. I'll not get into that unless you guys want to, but yeah, there's definitely some rivalry on the teams. And most notably with Alterac Valley. That's such a mess of a thing. But yeah, it's the story, the reason, the meaning behind it. That's what makes things that much more interesting. If you can have a story along with it, it makes it much more impactful. That's not to say that you can't have a story. Hell, Pac-Man was just literally an arcade game. He eats dots and runs from ghosts. Go. But that's been a successful hit for ever. Kind of not anymore, but you get what I mean, I think. World of Warcraft. Yeah, I stopped playing Warcraft during Lich King. They ended up being a lot more filler and grindy and not quite the same. And it never will be. So yeah, I'm done with Warcraft and Blizzard for a multitude of reasons. I'll go into depth if you want, but yeah, I don't trust them for shit anymore. No. I used to be an engineer in the game, and there was a very big controversy, and they flat up ignored the entire engineering community, point blank. And then they swept it under a rug and forgot about it. So yeah, that still stinks. What was that well like before it went boring? For reference, when did you start? Or if you have, what have you done in a while? What frame of reference are you talking about before it went boring? Because yeah, I was actually officially, my dad managed to get into the Warcraft beta. So I am an original Warcraft player. And we played it like that. And it was a neat little game. But honestly, I think it's a bit cliche, but there's the term soul. That's the part that was there. When I stopped playing, yeah, original, the actual beta, or the open beta, whatever it was, or was it closed? Yeah, I was young at the time. It's I can't remember specifically what it was, but I do remember I made a Tauren, I think it was Druid. It was like my first character. Didn't get anywhere with it. Druid, ironically, wasn't quite the class for me. turned out to be shaman and warlock and warrior at the end. But before it got boring, it was new. It was unknown territory was part of it. We had this thing called Thoughtbot, if it's still around, I think. Now I think everybody just uses Wowhead. But people were putting together what they knew of the game. There was no data mining. It was, hey guys, I found this over here. I think this is a spot that things, a mining node that pops up here. Oh, cool. And it was a sense of exploration. Nobody knew what anything was. Nobody knew the upper limits of anything, and we were still learning and figuring out the entirety of the game. And so, like, you could, if you've ever had, like, crazy little stories of, like, neighbor kid, I heard in Smash Bros. You can get Goku in the game if you play the game for a week straight and win every battle without taking any damage. Bullshit like that. Some of that was in Warcraft. I heard you get the crazy drop over here. No, that's crazy. And stuff like that. It was an era of the unknown, which is pretty cool. There was still a lot of it. Okay, we need to go here and get these items there. And you need good enough stuff here. But I think part of what really did it was New World was one of it. But I think part of it for me was that the developers tried and they didn't quite know what they were doing. They put out armor sets, they put out items, they put out just kind of, this looks cool, that looks good, that looks about right for the stat points. I think this is what they'll go for. And try everything to find everything. Yeah, I love exploration. I love climbing around, finding all the hidden stuff and doing things like that. One of the reasons I really enjoyed the Rift game, for a side tangent here, in the Rift game they had this thing called artifacts. You could run around the map completely 100% optional. Everybody could do it, but not everyone did. And it was, you'd run around and in the base of a tree you could find a little sparkling shimmer and pick it up and it'd be a little artifact. St. Pierre's rusty fork, okay, or like the a rotten log from a troll. Just random insignificant little interesting pieces. And I spent so much time going around and finding all of them. They had hundreds, thousands of these things all over. And there were common ones, uncommon ones, and the common ones, you just walk down the road, oh hey look, there's one right there, pick it up, and just a leaf, okay? But then there's the other one, you have to climb this mountain, go up on this tree branch, and like try and navigate and walk, and right over there you get the rare one, the Super Squirrel's Acorn Nut, whatever the hell those things are. And I love the exploration aspect of that. It was like, and it wasn't just automatically generated. Those were hand-placed spots. Some developer went in, that looks like a good spot right there. Oh, it's in this little tree right here. Oh, behind this rock. No one's ever going to see it there. It was all hand-placed, hand-done things. And that's what I enjoyed about it. Now to bring this back a little bit. Big difference, yeah. The original Warcraft, everything was handmade. They didn't have a spreadsheet or a... Well, they probably did for a lot of the stuff, but they didn't have a... Hunters have to be this stat, warlocks have to be this stat, warriors have to be this stat. You could, and most people did, actually fight to get green armor that had better stats than the official armor that they got for their class. And so it was, you could kind of do anything. And there was no predetermined path for it all. Because you get like the next slot for a piece of armor. The set bonus had like 8, get all 8 pieces of the set bonus, and you get this thing. But if you go only to 6, you can get like the neck and maybe the bracer or something as these random greens that had a slightly better stat bonus. And so you could actually sit there and experiment and find a better way of doing things that was against what was the official way of going about it. Yeah, for instance, I had my Shaman Healer restoration build, and I ran around with a Druid's Maul because two-handed, because I could. And for a two-handed for a Shaman, you have to go down the enhancement tree, which is not the restoration tree. So my character was a healer with a two-handed weapon, which was very strange. It was a maul, a literal two-handed maul, which I had to specialize in to get the special bonuses. So as my healing shaman, I would go up to the enemy, smack it with a hammer. I was absolutely horrible, did like nothing, but I was able to smack the enemy while healing everybody. And it was a fun, crazy, silly little build. Nowadays, it's all, if you want to heal, you have to play it this way. If you want to tank, you have to play it this way. If you want to DPS, you have to do it this way. There's no in between. It just is this, is this, is this. There's no odd and crazy anymore. Do anything, explore and cut from your own. And yeah, it's just like that, stuff like that. The exploration aspect, the hand done, make the world actually feel like a world and not just a mock-up, a cardboard cutout. Yeah, it's like all that stuff. That's what makes the games engaging. That's what makes the games interesting. No variety. That sucks. Yeah, quite literally. I'm talking about my healer diversifying to a two-handed, meant to be a damage class spec. The break and make your own classes. Yeah, and that's what my brother did with his tanky necromancer build. They went in odd, weird, fanciful, and crazy directions. If you look at Warcraft now, I think they've simplified it to the point that these are the only talents that are available. You can't do anything else. There's like no option to it. They took them away. So instead of having 3 rows of talents, you have a single row of things you have to follow down. There's no variety. There's no experimentation. There's no weirdness. If you want to go the healer, you have to go the healer route. You can't do anything different. And they took that randomness, that bit of chaos away that people do. And one of the other things, in classic Warcraft there was Blackrock Depths, I think it's the dwarf one, and there's another one with the orcs. What the hell is the name of that one? Blackrock Cavern? Something like that. And in it, they just kind of put things together. There was no real, okay, mobs have to be 20 units apart. They have to be this far away. We'll have the trash units here, here, and here, and then the boss here, and then this, and this. There was none of that. They had, this boss is over here in the jail cell because he's the jailer. We have this guy over here because he's in the bar drinking. And these units are in these places because that's what kind of looks okay. There was no formula to how it was placed. It was all an artistic choice. And then, because of that, there was no... Yeah, it's a... people play it now. Warcraft? I could probably answer that quite simply. They're stuck in a loop. Neat function of a game like that, but now, he wasn't immortal, but he had to work his butt off to stay in the state like that. It took a lot of skill too, and if anybody was thinking, they could outdo him. But his build was mostly for countering people who mimicked the professional players. Well, that's the thing. Didn't know how to make a character to counter it. That right there is the problem. It's like, I don't know how, so you need to fix it. Well, you can do it. You just have to figure out how to do it. They took the agency away from it a little bit. But going back to Sears for a bit. It's oh, I completely forgot that bit. Give me a sec. I missed a couple spots here. But yeah, you take away uniqueness, and why people continue to play the game. I grew up. My first real experience with online games was with a game called EverQuest. If you guys know about that game, that it's still technically being played by a lot of people. Well, not a lot, but a group of people. That game is flat out horrible. In that game, if you die, you lose experience. If you lose enough experience to go back a level, you lose a level. If you lose a level that doesn't have the current spells, you lose those spells. So if you die at like level 18 and you go back to 17, you lose all your level 18 spells, and you would have to grind back up to get them. That was the main mechanic of EverQuest. Yes, people still play that. What happens is, I actually have a family member who played it for quite some time. Mechanic, it's fun, and that's why it's called EverQuest. It was literally designed to take you forever to finish. But in that game, people still play it because they have people with them. They have a group of people that are still playing it, and it's turned into a chat room with something to do in the background. And I see it with Warcraft a bit. I haven't actually watched any of it, but I can see it. People log into Warcraft. They don't actually log in to play the game. They log in to chat with the people around them, which have a common interest, Warcraft. So they log in, oh yeah, I'm doing my dailies. How's your day doing, Steve? Oh yeah, it's all fine, George. Whatnot. And so if you like doing a thing, oh yeah, we can do that today. And then they do that and log off. And they just sit there and keep it, and it's become a habit. And the other aspect is, currently Warcraft is level 130 something. I have no idea anymore. Good name branding though, yeah, totally. And so people have invested years of their life into this game, and I can't just give it up. I've got this character, and I've built it up, and I need to see all the other stuff. I can't just let it go. And it's the sunk cost fallacy. I spent so much time, it would be a shame to lose it all. To just give it up. It'll get better next time. A lot of logical fallacies kind of piled upon each other to keep going. This is excluding people who truly still do enjoy the game for whatever reason. I don't quite know, but some people can still enjoy it. And so it's kind of a habit that's been built up over years, and there's nothing else quite like it. How I've tried to find other Warcraft-like games, but there aren't any out there. They keep trying to mimic the current Warcraft. And so it's, well, I'd like to play a different game. Nothing out there. Guess I'll play Warcraft. Okay, I'm bored. Let's look for something else. Nothing out there? Guess I'll play Warcraft. Etc., etc., etc. And so it's I see a lot of that kind of mindset being a thing. And yeah, it's not necessarily the Warcraft aspect, but that's part of what I do. It's one of the reasons I'm playing Team Fortress is because it's what I got. It's one I've had for a while, and it's like, well, what can I play? I can't really do that. I guess I'll play Team Fortress. Is kind of where I'm sitting at personally. I'd like to try some of the other ones, but one, I'd have to buy the game, and currently I'm trying to save up for my move, and so I'm trying to scrap together any little bit I can, which is easier said than done. Oop. Ah, shit. Give me a sec. I'm being lazy here. Yeah, we're good. But yeah, it's, I think, I don't know, this is kind of logical and a flawed train of logic. I'm not getting things I want to do because I'm saving up money for my move. I could just buy some of that stuff, new games, new things like that, and then just see how they go. But I wouldn't quite be responsible for when I move. I hate this kind of weird mix. Oh, I see your comment. Are we gonna do anything with anyone? I think there actually is one. What the hell? I had a friend who was interested in it, and you could quite literally do anything. What the hell was the name of that? I'm not gonna remember it. I think it was on Steam, and at the time it might have been in beta or some such. What the hell was it? It was set in a more medieval-ish type fantasy setting. What the hell was it? The concept was there are no levels, just skills with whatever. I think is what it was. And you could be like a farmer, a trader, a swordsmanship, that kind of thing, and you just skill up whatever it is. There's no official class. What the hell was it? I want to say it starts with an S, and I want to say like... No, I'm completely wrong in it. What the hell was it? Look up MMORPG without levels, skill-based only. God, man. It was a year or two ago. I have no idea what happened to it. Because it was a very large file size, and I couldn't download it at the time. What the hell was it? I'll look into it. Henry. Henry, huh? Oh, so you know about it? Maybe. Yeah, it's just, you reminded me of it, because my friend was with the same concept. He liked it without being a class. There is also, I believe, Divinity Original Sin 2. I think you can do whatever you want in that one. I think you're based off race, but you can, yeah, you can skill up with whatever. Yeah, Divinity is one you can do that. It's a bit of a different kind of a RPG, but it works out. Well, no, it's kind of a standard one in most regards, but you can but yeah, there's you know, there's I can see that sorry, I can see the there's no classes aspect of it, but then at the same time I don't quite like that. Yeah, there's I find when a lot of those games have like you can be anything you want at any time, they tend to be very homogeneous to account for that. There's no uniqueness to it. There's a difference between playing a mage character as a warrior character than there is as playing a character who has magical stats playing with warrior equipment. There's a difference there. I can't quite explain it. And I personally prefer having characters and classes with a I think that might be it, actually. I think that might be it. It sounds vaguely like it. Memory's a bit fuzzy, but I think that might have been it. Give me a sec to check it out, and well, I'll check it out later, I guess. I'm trying to paint here. But yeah, it was a kind of just there are no classes, you just do whatever. Okay, I think I've got the base of all of that done. Yay! Oh, ads. Sorry about any of the ads. I have those turned off, but they still pop up. Because, yeah, I personally hate ads and I don't make any money off this anyway. Well, I do, but not any realistically large sums. Yeah, currently I have 3 viewers. That's kind of my current highball for viewers. So yeah, ads. If I could just, we forgot you were painting. That's the way it goes, I guess, huh? But yeah, that's kind of a good thing. It's just when you can just get so involved in things that like everything else kind of just washes away. That's a sign that you're like really invested in something. Yeah, this is currently what I've got so far. Give me a sec to get better. Hey, there we are. But I was working on the boots up there. There's the white around it, but that's the blue. I'll need to mix that up again. I got the arms. Oh yeah, got to do that one. Got to do that one. Well, how dare they make money off of a thing people on their own platform? How dare they? Yeah, it's not bad. It could be better in a couple areas. I'm not gonna complain, but I just am noticing aspects that could be improved. But this is also an experiment and a first attempt at doing something like this, so it's okay. It's within tolerable levels. Damn it. And drawing the outlines is the hardest thing to do with paint, especially at such a small scale. Just like, oh, I guess I could show you the other paintings I've got. I showed you the one, but give me a second, I'll pull them out for a bit. But yeah, I have only really been painting for a couple months now. And I've been doing art stuff for a while. I've always been interested in the art world, but never quite believe myself ready for it. I kept trying to do fictitious drawings, things that don't exist, like an anime character or something like that. But that's not my specialty. I work best with things I can see. And I see comments. Give me a sec. Trying to paint right. Right, and goes in the corner. Well, that's actually kind of what I'm figuring out. She's a very simplistic design. White, blue, red, and yellow for hair, I guess. But I'm not quite there yet. Yeah, and it's kind of fascinating. You still can get it wrong and different. Because one of the aspects I have trouble with, like for instance, her arms here, I'm not overly satisfied with them. Because I term it balloon figures. It's like when you like draw an arm, like when you're first drawing out, the arm has the muscle. It goes like that, and then this one goes like that, and then this elbow goes like that, and you get this weird rounded humanoid shape. That's what I end up like defaulting to, and I don't quite know how to fix that. Well, I do, but I'm not quite there yet. Give me a moment. And my paint keeps running out. just a second. Alright. But yeah, it's Sims. The Sims, that's the game that I've never been able to get into. Sims is very odd. I can see why some people would be interested in it, but that's never been a game for me. I like stories, and I grew up with Legend of Zelda, Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot, things like that. But The Sims is a sandbox. I've never been a fan of sandbox games. I've tried many times, even with like Minecraft and like, they just never quite work with me, because when you allow me to do absolutely anything, no direction, no goal, just go do whatever the hell you want, I get completely lost. I end up not doing anything because there's no point. You can do whatever you want and do anything you want, but it's just there. It's this weird thing I keep running back into. Oh, give me one moment. And yeah, so with a story-based game, you need to go to the dungeon to defeat the boss. Okay, cool. Well, let's go do that. You need the MacGuffin of epicness in order to kill him. Okay, cool. Let's go do that. You need to save the little puppy from the tree because it's the only friend I've got. All right, I'll absolutely do that, ma'am. But then if you go into like Minecraft or The Sims, it's like, go do whatever. What am I supposed to do? Whatever. Okay. And it just, I lose interest. I've tried, but it just doesn't work for me. There is no off topic on this channel. Stick to it in our live stream. Yeah, that actually is one of the things that helps me out with my channel here. I've been doing this for a couple, I think it's 2 years now, streaming. Hard to keep track. Something like maybe 3 years. It's hard for me to remember. It's whatever topic. Yeah, there is no off topic here. We go off on philosophical debates, game theory, favorite colors, chickens, animals, construction, whatever. It's quite literally whatever topic here. But yeah, go and stick to it. I do live streams every day because that's getting me into a habit, getting me continually working on something. Because I know if I don't do it, I will slack off. I am quite lazy in a lot of regards. Smell like snow globe fluid. Oh, there you go. Problem solved, or at least problem found. Oh yeah. Let's start off with you. Photos, paintings. This is the first painting I did. I can't get the lighting to work with me here. There we go. Maybe that's the screen. That's why. There we are. But this is Beatrice, the golden, from the game Umineko. In her game, she's got a portrait. Looks exactly like this, mostly. And it was my origin for doing all the painting stuff. Here is Beatrice the Elder. That's the one I always get mixed up with. Still gotta work on the face. I don't quite know why it's weird. I think it's the nose. I'll figure it out. I'm quite proud of the entire rest of the painting. I'm gonna fix it one day. I decided to just go off on a tangent like this, though, at the moment. And then I've got Link. I really need to do better system than just kind of whatever here. this is Link from Majora's Mask, one of my absolute favorite games. Yeah, that's about it. Those are the only paintings I've got so far. I do, technically speaking, have one sitting in the main building over there. If I have no set goals. Last second in. Trash. Oh no, just rip some dirt in it. You'll be fine. And unfortunately, it's the middle range sword. So it's the one you get before you get the best sword. But yeah, that's a pretty impressive sword design. I kind of like it too. One of the reasons I went with that one. But yeah, it's, and yeah, I have that problem of needing a goal. If I'm not doing anything, I lose my way. Which makes it very difficult to make your own goal. What, 200 strikes? I'd like to say 200. A bit more than 100, but 200. Yeah, it just... you only use it for so much. But yeah, Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games. For the reason that there's story in it. And not just... Actually, Majora's Mask is one of the weakest overarching narratives. The moon's gonna crash into the world. Stop it. Go. And that's the overarching story. But that game shines because of all the secondary sub-quests and whatnot. Yeah, I think I'm done painting for now. Set that aside. Now it's time for this chant. But yeah, in Majora's Mask, it's all about the sub-stories, the characters themselves. And I like it, again, because it's all hand-done. There's no, we need this farmer who lost his crops because we need that trope in there. We have to put this in there. We have to mark checkbox A, B, C. Do it. No, all those characters have Is the graphic card? I've got the just the normal version of it, but I did have a friend who had the holographic one. Well, that's pretty cool. The PAL version, really interesting. Yeah, I'm not that much of a collector, but it's I've got the original one. It's sitting right over there, I believe. I don't quite see it, but I think it's just right in that pile there. Chatting time, specifically chatting time, and not chatting with some occasional painting. Pro FPS shooter. you would definitely need a computer for that. I'm not gonna lie, you would need a computer to do that. Play it professionally. Card design, yeah. Card was also gray. Yeah, it was. I think the gold is the U.S. only, isn't it? Along with the DK64 yellow version. But yeah, if you want to go pro, you will need a good computer and a good connection, and some of that stuff. I've no experience with pro FPS stuff. I don't do the professional scene. I do the more than casual, less than professional middle ground. Part of it was because I used to play on a satellite. Just your standard for Twitch shooting styles. Yeah. I currently live 20 miles from town, up on a mountain in the middle of a forest, and 100 miles from the nearest city. So I live in the middle of nowhere. And the only internet we were able to have at the time was satellite internet, which is not conductive to first-person shooters. Still give it a shot though. Didn't quite work out, but it did work for MMOs and such. Quake or Unreal. Yeah, those were crazy. Console games, yeah. What state? Washington. Northeast Washington. Rural America. Mountain Man. Yep. Definitely a mountain man. Australia. Well, that's 2 Australians here. Oh, cool. Maybe I should specialize in Australian streams. Oh, here I got it for you. Here, I'll make it a bit more familiar for you. Okay, give me 1 sec. There we go. Now we're on the same playing field, okay? Now we're all upside down like the world intended. We're all from Australia. Okay. But yeah, I live up on a mountain, and we actually, my folks bought a 20-acre lot, forested wooded area, and this is actually quite confusing. I'm gonna flip it back for you. But yeah, we live on 20 acres, and we've done logged our own wood to make a firewood. And this cabin that I'm built in here right now, this room, we built from our own lumber. A little late or early for you. It's very early for me. It's currently about 6 a.m. A couple minutes or so. Being out in the woods, away from people, be self-sufficient. There's different types of self-sufficiency. Yeah, it's about 6 a.m. for me here. There's the absolute 100% self-sufficiency, your own crops, your own water, you're off the grid, things like that. That's incredibly difficult to do. Most people have mostly self-sufficiency, where we're able to take care of ourselves, but we still go to town for most of the supplies, like canvas, toilet paper, food, things like that. But we still have enough, a stockpile of things to rely on should things go bad. Cans, rice, what's the other one we got there? Rice and beans, that's what it is. From Michigan. Alright, well, hello. It's always fascinating how like people from all over end up in the most random and most interesting of places. This little Twitch stream here has been like so incredibly international. It's crazy. People from all over the world have come to my little corner of the world in the middle of nowhere, and it's just fascinating. We've made our own jam. We've planted strawberries, harvested them. A whole lot of, so many fucking strawberries. The strawberries never end. They just keep going and going and going. And we just had buckets and gallons and tons of strawberries. Didn't quite know what to do with them, so we just made strawberry jam. Still had more. Made strawberry pies. Still had more. Gave them to neighbors. But yeah, we've sealed some stuff in jars, mostly jam, and it's a pretty simple process. You just boil it, basically. Get it in there, seal it tight, boil it in water, sealed all tight, and slap it on, and it's all good. Jam jelly person. Not too much Australian trees, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, we had strawberries, but we just kind of ignored them for a while. They're still there, but not really anymore. It was too much work sitting there harvesting an entire field of strawberries, and then we didn't quite know what to do with them. My folks are trying to focus more on vegetable type stuff as opposed to fruits, more hearty food, I guess. Blueberry, raspberries. Oh yeah, those good. We had blueberries. They died. I think some of the animals just like knocked them over or something. Raspberries. Those are a different story. Green onion. Sorted that out. Yeah. Wrong. Fresh products. Oh, we did. Well, we have a garden over there and a second garden over there, and my dad's planting a wheat field over there to help feed the chickens we've got, and potentially cows for the coming years. But yeah, it's figure it out and work it. But raspberries, I got a story about that. Do you guys need rhubarb? We've quite literally tried to kill it, but it keeps coming back. We've literally rototilled it into the dirt, chopped it up into little pieces, and it's still growing back bigger than ever. We just ignore it now because we can't do anything with it. Neighbors come over, want some rhubarb? Here, take it, please. Please take it. But yeah. Yeah. They're in the farming now. Yeah, my dad's even looked into making his own bread. Growing wheat, grinding it, and making his own bread. He's actually done it from wheat seed. Not growing it, but just buy the wheat and made a bit of bread that way. And it's actually very different. Yeah, I personally am not fond of rhubarb. It's not really my thing, but rhubarb. It's a rhubarb plant. It yeah, it's technically poisonous on the leaves, I think, are the poisonous, but the stalks are edible. So yeah, it's but yeah, it will not die. It just keeps surviving. We also had raspberry plants that we got from our neighbor, and those things, they have a 2-year season. You plant them or like transfer them, and then every 2 years they have berries. But those things are very hardy and really hard to kill. But we had a neighbor who managed to successfully do that somehow. Like quite literally, pick it up, put it in the dirt, and it's good to go. But he managed to kill it. We don't know how. But yeah, my dad made some bread out of wheat seed. He like ground it up and tried to make some actual bread, and it was very different than store-bought bread, like significantly so. It was a very thick, hearty, and filling bread. He just made a small little loaf, and like the same amount of store bread, I could eat a whole lot, but I wasn't able to finish the bread that he cooked because it was so filling and so compact with actual food and not just air. It was interesting, different. Yeah, it's not whole wheat bread, it was solid wheat bread. No idea what rhubarb is. I'll do Google search for it. Give me a sec. And Kingdom of Deliverance, I think. I gotta keep an eye on. Here, Wikipedia, somewhere on here. There it is. Wikipedia link, rhubarb. Yeah, rhubarb is popular in pies. Yeah, it's making your own bread. The store-bought bread is very light. You just like squish it and compact it and like have like a little ball like that for a piece of bread. But with this bread, you compact it and you won't be able to get much smaller than it already is. It's like, it's not a brick. It's nothing like that. I can't quite describe how much actual substance is in the bread. That it makes a very big difference. Very big difference. And like when you hear like old timey people talk about like breaking bread, you literally had to break the bread because it didn't just fall apart. You had to break it because of the crust. And it was actual filling, substantial bread. Not quite, because my dad's looked up recipes and other people have done it as well, and they comment on similar things. It's very filling. It's actually nutritious and not just white bread nothing. Aeration of the bread curd. Yeah. And odd little starting to get a bit weird on the internet here. Odd little fun fact in history: the Romans and/or Greeks, some really old civilization based in that area, Babylon's one of them, like the oldest civilization known to man, something like that. I can't remember. Knock someone out. If it was stale enough, you could do it, yeah. But one of these old civilizations actually had a bread problem where bakers were stealing the bread from inside the baked dough. So they'd bake a bread and then they'd have a hole in the plate and take out the bread on the middle and then kind of like patchwork the end so that they could reuse that bread for other people and charge more for it. And they actually had to make laws and fines and fees and stuff because all these bakers were shorting people all the bread. It became a huge problem, and there's all these little tablets and brick chiseled citations for things that people have stuff for. Happy Steve, hello. That might be it. I can't remember the name, but like they had actual bricks, that tablets that they wrote government official grievances on, that they so and so has charged me so much more for bread and I did not get that stuff, and then the laws that no baker is allowed to do yada yada yada. And yeah, it was like really crazy that these bakers and such had to have laws put in place to not be assholes. And so with that mindset in mind, if you apply that to current modern day thinking with what is referred to as white bread, where you get this big old loaf and you can crush the entire thing in between your hands and there's nothing there. I don't get white bread. I just don't. There's nothing there. I like something that you can actually eat, something that's actually nutritious for you. Well, not just nutritious, but actually substance, not just air. Oh, history buff, huh? It's I'm not familiar specifically with it, but I do know the stories that do pop out from it and whatnot. Yeah, the whole, yeah, the leaves are toxic, but the stalk is very edible. People eat it all the time, and they put it into pies. Not too much sugar in it. To avoid sugar corn syrup as much as you can. Well, there's, yeah, it's, for me, I'm trying to avoid the high fructose corn syrup stuff, but there's no escaping sugar, especially in America. It's all over the place. It just, like, anything you buy has sugar in it. You can't escape it. But yeah, trying to be more conscious and healthy about that, it does make a difference. And I've noticed, when I've started eating a bit healthier, I'm not a health nut or anything, but trying to just be better, you feel better, because eating all that filler and just stuff just doesn't do you any good. Well, put on a mask and become bread man and do it out in the middle of the night when she can't tell. Let's try my best. Yeah, it's me too. I slack off all the time, but I still try and work at getting pretty healthy stuff. My main diet's just like a ham sandwich and whatnot. Only half. Good man for you. Yeah, I personally only had one cupcake yesterday. There's only one left, but I still had one cupcake. And there it goes. Alright, so yeah, my internet is starting to die off. I stream till 6 just to avoid this particular thing. So my time is up. Yeah, it's I work on a time frame. It's a shared internet connection, and 6 is my cutoff point. I've pushed it a bit too much, so I gotta get going now, guys. Stream is dying. But had a lot of fun and a lot of interesting topics to talk about. Bread, rhubarb, old Egypt, and whatever the hell it was. And Sailor Moon. Yeah, I started painting Sailor Moon. We're talking about bread. That's how the world works. See you later, guys. Have a good one. It's your birthday? Just happy birthday. Have another cake slice for me. Because I don't have any. See you later, guys.